Hello and welcome to Low Budget Gaming and welcome to another fast Descendant video. So with season 3 not far away, I thought I'll make a updated guide to a few of the popular Descendants, starting with Freyna, what I'm currently using because we've had some new systems to the game. We got external component cores not too long ago. We have Arche Tuning, Mutant cells, a new external component set. So things have changed a little bit. So for any new players to the game or any returning players, I thought I'll make an updated build preparing for season 3, let's say. So yeah, so let's quickly go over how Freyna works very quickly, and then I'll share the build for both mobbing and bossing. So Legion of Immortality, level 100, because level 100 is the enemy level that we encounter in most of the mobbing content. I'm not sure what level enemies are in Sigma sector, but I think they are level 100 as well. So basically, if you see the four abilities for Freyna, 1, 3, and 4, Q, V, and Z, they are tech types, toxic and tech. The second ability, C, that is a defensive ability, so we rarely use that one. But the first ability, she throws a sort of projectile at the enemy that does a lot of damage. And then all of her abilities, they inflict some sort of toxin on the enemy, which is a continuous type of damage. And enemies that are hit by that, they'll take continuous damage for a certain time, depending on how you mod it, 10 seconds, 12 seconds. And most of them have multiple types of tick damage. So let me just show you. So if I hit this guy here, there's an initial hit, and then you can see it just spreads everywhere and kills all of them. Okay, that is the first ability. So it's a projectile, and then it inflicts multiple toxins. The third ability is a puddle on the ground, toxic swarm, and basically it does the same thing, but you put it on the ground and it spreads if you have a decent range. The fourth ability is a unique gun. So actually, I should have waited for the puddle to disappear before spawning them again. The fourth ability is a unique gun. This is still counted as a skill, but it's basically a gun like this, and you shoot the enemies. They'll also get the same toxic thing, and it also does a lot of damage with the gun itself. Now, the gun can be modded with the gun that you're holding. So, for example, I'm holding the Secret Garden. Certain things from the Secret Garden carry over to the unique gun as well. So, I'll talk about that as well. So, now let's quickly look into the build here. A few changes from previous builds. First, we have the Transcendent mod, Contagion. Contagion, what it does is when an enemy dies, it explodes, and the explosion causes the nearby enemies to be inflicted by room 0 trauma as well. Okay, so killing one enemy will cause a chain reaction if there are other enemies nearby. Now, without this, what happens is the explosion doesn't happen, and you also get an extra tick damage. So basically, you'll have projectile, toxic puddle, room 0 trauma, panic. So you have four things going on, three continuous damages with puddle, room 0 trauma, and panic. Second one has despair. Third one has decay at the bottom. Fourth one has nightmare. Now, if I put contagion, the final ones will be removed. You can see here we don't have that panic, despair, decay, and nightmare. So we have one less in return for that explosion. So if you want to do more damage per enemy, go without the Transcendent module. If you want the benefit of explosion so that your Venom can spread everywhere, go with the Contagion. So basically, if you can see it still kill, but it does not spread all the way. Okay. So if you want to do more damage per enemy, you go without the Transcendent mod. If you want to do the damage spreading everywhere, then you go with Contagion. So for example, if you're going 400% dungeon, go with Contagion. If you're going for Void Erosion Purge, where the enemies are more tanky, they have more health, then you remove the Contagion. So with the Contagion, you can see this spreads quite easily to all of them. Okay, that is the difference between Contagion and no Contagion. Okay, so now let's look at the build here. Freyna doesn't have a lot of crit, so we work with the amplification mods. So you can have focus on toxic, but I'm using power increase just to balance out the skills. Also, we don't need too much cooldown. We are also getting more toxic power from the external components. So we don't want to overload into the toxic category. We want more balance. So that's why we are going with power increase. So over here, you can see we have base power, toxic power. If we don't have this, and if we go with, say, focus on toxic, we'll just have too much in this side and not enough here. So the result will be we'll actually do less damage. So power increase is better for that reason. Okay, next we have tech, because 1, 3, and 4 are all tech. So we go with focus on tech amplification. We want some range over here. So if you see our ranges, for the toxic puddle, the range by default is 4 meters. Maximum it can go is 300%, which will be 12 meters. We are at 9.6% with one mod. With Contagion, this is enough. You can actually max it out as well if you wanted, but I'll give you some options. And if you want to do that, you can do that. So we have this for the range. Then we have two mods for cooldown, MP conversion, nimble fingers, standard stuff here. And then we have one mod for duration. So if you see here on the fourth ability, exclusive weapon under max bullets, it says duration 10 seconds. We've increased it to 13.6. The reason for this is we have a lot of bullets in the exclusive weapon, and we want to be able to empty all the bullets. So we need to have some duration. Without this, we may end up not being able to do that. So let's equip this gun here, 84 bullets, and we'll see if we can empty the whole thing. Now, most cases in mobbing, you don't really need the exclusive weapon. And we are about 4 bullets short of emptying it. So we don't need a lot, but we can still have a duration mod here, which will also increase the duration of our various puddles and things like that. So if you see over here, room 0 trauma, duration is 6 seconds at the bottom. With the extension, once we put this and save it, you can see it goes up to 8.2. So enemies will stand longer in the damage, they'll take damage longer, more takes more damage. It's just useful overall to have a little bit of duration. Okay, did we cover it? Okay, and then finally, I have a couple of mods that are recent additions. Now, previously we used to have HP, increased HP. I'm not using increased HP because we can now add a lot of HP on the external components. But if you wanted more HP, you would put HP over here, HP over here, and with the plague set, we are at 18,948, so 18,950 roughly in terms of HP. Without this, we are still at 10,000. Most of the time, I've played this game with about 8 or 9,000 health. So this is already more than what we are used to. So mobbing content, you can just work without an HP mod. We have so much HP. Now, the options you have is you can, if you still want a little bit of HP, you can put Bat of Stamina, because this will give you some HP and it will also give you a little more duration. So this 13.6 becomes 14.5. So a little more comfortable. This 8.2 becomes 8.7. This will be a good option here. You can also put what I had before here, but what did I have? Spear and Shield. So Spear and Shield will give you more skill power, 8.1%. We are not taking this for the defense. We are taking it for the skill. Again, we don't need the skill, but you can add that as well. We also have this free mod here. We can put Decimator. So Decimator, when you defeat an enemy inflicted with debuffs, you get skill power modifier up to 10 stacks. So the next enemy will be hit harder and harder. So this will be useful against tougher enemies. So you're killing all the smaller enemies, getting the stacks of Decimator and then killing them. You can also use Dangerous Ambush. So when landing a skill attack while the enemy is not targeting you, skill power 24.9%. And against immobilized enemies, 49.8. Now, immobilized enemies are only the Colossus in the game when they are sort of knocked. So this isn't that useful, but when you're spreading your poison everywhere. The first part of this, when the enemy is not targeting you, that will come in handy. You do a lot of damage. You could also use there's one called Technique Manual. This one here. When learning a skill attack deals 460% of max HP as additional damage to the target. So basically, if you're going with the more HP stuff, let's say the Battle of Stamina, or if you are using the normal HP mod, you could use Technique Manual, something like this. So you'll do more damage based on your health. You have 15,000 health here, you'll do some extra damage here. With increased HP, you will have 18,500, almost 19,000. So you have various options here. Like I said, the range is something you can add as well, but I wouldn't recommend it because with Contagion, you don't really need it for most of the content. Like, I don't notice a difference without the extra range. Like, for example, over here, the range for the Toxic Swarm by default is 4 meters. We are up to 9.6. You'll get it up to 12. Not a huge difference. The puddle will be a little bigger, basically. So let me show you. So if we just drop the puddle here, you can see it's just inside this line over here, just inside over here. Now what we'll do is we'll add the amplification control instead of duration, and you'll see the puddle is slightly bigger. You can see here it just extends a little outside. So yeah, it's not that important in my opinion. I would say duration is a better option. Over here, you will be able to max out the range here. You can see up to 12 meters now. So currently, this is the Freyna setup I'm happy with. And yeah, this works very well in all the mobbing content. You can clear enemies comfortably. You have decent cooldown, health, stuff like that. So our cooldown for the first ability is 2.1 seconds, which is perfectly fine. You can reduce it further, but I would recommend something like this. With Freyna, you don't need to spam the abilities constantly. You can see one hit of the of your projectile or one of your thing can actually take out all the enemies. So you don't need to constantly keep spamming because even one is going to kill everything. So you have to be just a little slower with Freyna and not spam the abilities. And that is also why you don't need a lot of MP with Freyna. Anyway, so that is the current build for Freyna for mobbing. Okay, now for the reactor, you have a few options. The best in slot would be Toxic and Tech, but you won't have the cooldown option here. Cooldown might go up a little too much, but this will be the most powerful one. Make sure to have the tactical rifle mounting here. You can also use Toxic and cooldown. I'm currently using Tech and cooldown. You can also use cooldown and duration. So this will increase your duration even further. So if we see here, 18.7 duration. Over here, 9.4. So we started with 6, we got 8.2, and then 8.7, and now we have 9.4. With this one, we have 15.6 seconds. So even if you have the maximum bullets on this one, you can comfortably empty the magazine. So if you wanted, you can go with cooldown and duration. This is the mod, this is the reactor I used the longest on Freyna because early days it was hard to get the perfect reactor and then max it out. So this was my reactor for the longest time. And yeah, we don't need that extra toxic power, tech power. But if you want, a balanced option would be tech and cooldown. Okay. External components, we now have the plague set. So 4 pieces of the plague set, 2 pieces will give you extra tech power. The 4 pieces actually reduces your gun crit rate and crit damage, but with Freyna we are rarely using the gun. The secret garden we are using as a stat stick, so it doesn't really matter. But you get a lot of toxic skill power, 43.2%. The second one on acquiring custom resource, that is for Keelan, so it doesn't apply to Freyna, but you get a lot of power here. But if you're using the plague set, make sure to use power increase here, because if you use focus on toxic, you just have too much toxic, it will be an imbalance, like I said, and the Slayer set will be a better option in that case. So make sure you have power increase if you're using the rake set. Okay, so we got the mod page, reactor components, and of course we have the cores now. So let me quickly go over the stats. So on the auxiliary power, you need HP, max HP, MP recovery. In the cores, you want HP and defense. In the sensor, you want max MP, MP recovery in combat. In the cores, you want HP and defense. Over here, I've made a slight change because we have a lot of defense. I've gone with MP recovery and gold drop rate increase because I keep running out of gold. So a little more gold while we are farming doesn't hurt. And once again, we have HP and defense. And then finally, in the processor, we have max shield and toxin resistance. And in the cores, I've also got HP and toxin resistance. So we can put toxin resistance on the processor because that is the only place where we are not too worried about the exact stats. So we can get up to 7,000 toxin resistance without actually having a toxin resistance mod. So those are the components. Arche Tuning looks like this. So we have all the skill, MP recovery out of combat. We take all the skill range. We take the big skill power. We go up to take the MP and the cooldown. And we go up here and we take the toxin cohesion. So once we defeat enemies, we have a 50% trigger rate to get the toxin cohesion. We can get 3 stacks, which gives us 6.4 per stack, 19.2% in total. Let me just quickly show that as well. So we have enemies over here. If we see here 1.286 times, this is the toxic power. This will go up by 19.2%. So over here, we should see the stacks. We have 1 stack, 2 stack, 3 stack. 1.478. Let it drop back down to 1.286, was it? 286. Okay, so while you're killing enemies, you're getting more toxic. Okay, so that is the Mutant cell and the Arche Tuning done. Inversion Reinforcement, I would say, is completely optional for Freyna. You don't really need it for mobbing. So you can pick anything you like. I've taken the MP stuff here so that we never run out of MP. And you can take a little more HP just to give you a little more 10-11% more defense. Onto the guns. Main gun for Freyna is the Secret Garden. Now, Secret Garden, the reason why we have this in hand, a couple of reasons these days. Unique ability. When you're using tech skill, we get Pest control. Pest control basically gives us more firearm attack and skill power up to 3 stacks. So skill power 16% per stack goes up. In other words, this skill power, this will go up when we have the pest control. So pest control triggers at a 50%. So let's see if it triggers. No test pest control, nothing. We have to use the skills though. So actually, let me make these guys invincible. So whenever we are spamming skills, we can get tech pest control, I mean. Now, finally, it took ages. We have 1 pest control, 2 now, 3. So if you see here, we're up to 30,000 skill power here with 3 stacks of pest control. Okay, when the stacks end, we go back to 24,000. So that is the ability of the gun. The other reason is this gun has 2 yellow precision cores and 1 free core. I put sprint cores over there to get the maximum speed we can get, which is 1280 running like that. Recently, they have increased the speed limit for these Descendants up to 1440. So in order to get to 1440, what I've done is in the mod, I've put brisk walk. So when you hit an enemy, you get 24% speed increase. Okay, so if you hit this, you can see that shooting speediness, this will go up to 1440, which is the max sprint speed for people like Freyna. One other thing, did I talk about the 4th ability and how to mod it? Okay, so basically with our 4th ability, it carries over some of the stats from your gun. So the ammo mods, the ammo roll on the gun, fire rate, and things like that will carry over. So let me actually show you here. So this gun doesn't have fire rounds per magazine roll. Okay, and over here we have expand weapon charge 49%, and we have compulsive magazine 39%. Combined, we are getting 88%. Now, if we had 12% over here, that would be 100%. By default, we have 45 on the unique gun. It'll get doubled, so 90. So let me actually show you a gun that has that. So let's take this purple assault, purple hand cannon. You can see here at the bottom, rounds per magazine 12%. Inside we have these two mods, so we'll get 100% more. I've also put these two because these two also carry over to the unique ability. I'm not sure about the accuracy one, but I've put it there because I can. So notice what happens. By default, it is 45 bullets. When I pull out the fourth now, we have 90 bullets. So that is how you mod and increase the fire rate. This is handy against Colossus. Okay, I'll come to that once we get to the bossing build. Okay, so you can mod the Secret Garden to do damage, but at the moment, like I said, it is a stat stick. You can also put the sharp precision shot here instead of fire if you're not using it to do damage. I have fire here because I'm trying to have different elements on the various guns. With season 3, the enemies, they will be resistant to your elements. So basically what they were showing was if an enemy pack comes out from the tunnel, you hit them with toxic, the next group will be resistant to toxic. So what I've done is I've modded this for fire, this is for chill, and this is for electric, and Freyna will do toxic. So we have all elements covered. Again, something I've thought of and maybe not needed, but still. So with this one here, you can have fire, or you can put a sharp precision shot for helping the fourth ability. Now keep in mind, the sharp precision shot on the Secret Garden when you're shooting the gun is completely wasted. It doesn't work with tactical rifles, but I'm putting this here for the fourth ability so that our unique gun shoots a bit faster. This would be handy if you don't have the duration or if you want to do quicker damage to empty the magazines. But you saw how much duration we have now, so we'll empty this with a lot of time to spare with the sharp precision. So that is the gun setup, and that is, I think, the mobbing setup done. I've covered everything, right? Yeah. Now let's quickly look at the bossing setup as well. For bossing, the best reactor is tech and additional skill attack when attacking Colossus. We don't need cooldown because we have a completely different build here. The components stay the same. The gun, you can use a hand cannon with the mods that I showed you. This is to increase the fire rate and get the most ammo. Now we are using hand cannons because these are impact round guns. The sharp precision shot on the impact round guns is just it activates faster, let's say. So if you see here, firearm attack every 0.4 seconds up to 10 stacks. So the 10 stacks you can get a little faster compared to the general rounds, which takes 0.5 seconds. So over here you can see 0.5 seconds. Not a huge difference, but if you're trying to squeeze out everything, we go with this one. And you can see here, it doesn't matter what type of gun it is. This is a purple tier gun and it's not modded for anything. We're just holding it to get stuff into our unique weapon. For the build, we have the Venom injection mode. The way this works is it changes the second ability. You could say it works sort of like Gillet's first ability, where you activate this. This is running in the background. This normally consumes HP, but if you don't have HP, it consumes MP. And as long as this is active, you'll be doing extra damage. So what we ended up doing was we modded Freyna to use shields so that we don't have HP, because HP gets drained very quickly. So we turn all the HP into shield with the overwhelming shield mod. So she only has 1 HP, which is locked, but a lot of shield. And with this, what we do is we just give as much power as possible. We are trying to kill the Colossus in one go, in like 4 or 5 seconds, or one run of your skill. So we don't worry about cooldown and things like that. So what we have is tech amplification and toxic amplification. We are not using focus on toxic, focus on tech. We are using maximize power and maximize skill. These two will increase your cooldown considerably, but again, we are not planning to use our skills more than once. And then we put everything that can add more power. So we are putting shield just to increase our shields here. We have Spear and Shield for the skill power. We have Venom Synxium for the toxic skill power. We have extension, so we have more duration to empty our magazine. And Dangerous Ambush, because when the boss gets immobilized, we'll do 50% more power, 49.8%. So the way this works is you activate your second ability. Let me get a pause in here. Actually, let me talk about the Arche Tuning first. So for this one, I am using this setup here. Once again, we take all the skill, a little bit of cost reduction. You can go with MP if you want, doesn't matter. A little more duration. We take the Colossus nodes here and we go all the way up to here and we take Shield Enhancement Arche. So when your remaining shield is 50% or more, you'll get 9.5% in skill power. Okay, so what we do is we activate our second ability. It is running, it will give us more power. We activate our fourth, holding the gun with the most ammo, and then we shoot the gluttony boss, and we will finish him comfortably with 27 bullets to spare. I'll quickly show you in the arena as well because boss behaves a little differently. Okay, when the cooldown goes down, you run up to the boss. Now make sure to activate your second skill so that you're getting the power. Wait for him to finish his shenanigans, left to right, punching his arm on the right, and then we hit the weak point. Keep shooting the weak point. He's knocked. We are now getting the dangerous ambush, and he is done. So in reality, it took probably 6 or 7 seconds, but we had to wait for him to do all of his landing stuff, let's say. And let's see if we get something. I'm only interested in the crystallization catalyst movements. And yeah, that is the gluttony boss done. 12 seconds is probably like 6 seconds to actually shoot him. Now, inversion reinforcement is again completely optional here, but yeah, you can pick something you like here. And yeah, that is it for Freyna. So mobbing done, bossing done. We are in good shape for season 3. We have a lot of HP with the components, a lot of power. We have the right reactors. This gun, the reason I'm showing this purple gun is to show you that you don't really need an ultimate gun. You just need an impact gun with a rounds per magazine on the road. Cores are not needed for this. But yeah, that is Freyna. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this was useful and see you next time.